So again, the last week of school we're going to have a Shabbos Malachos fair.
We already know that.
On the last week of school we're going to invite our moms and tatties and siblings to come and try all the different types of work that we cannot do on Shabbos. Who remembers why there are 39 types of work we can't do on Shabbos? Where does that come from? Thank you for raising your hand so nicely.
They were the 39 malachos that you had to do to build the Beit HaMikdash.
And for the Mishkan, that's exactly right. The 39 types of malachas that people had to do in order to create the Mishkan. And the first one we're going to do is called Choraish. Can you say Choraish?
Choraish.
Choraish is, who knows what it is in English?
Digging. Plowing.
It's a kind of digging that's called plowing. Now, do you see what's going on here? There's a horse or an ox, and he has a piece of wood with a blade in the ground. And as the horse pulls across the dirt, the blade cuts a hole in the dirt. Why do you need a hole in the dirt? Why? Hobby. To plant a seed. What if I just put my seeds up on top of the dirt? What's going to happen?
Then it wouldn't work.
That's right.
But some plants you can do that.
That's right, but not all of them. And some of the ones that we need to have food to eat do not make it, they're definitely made to be able to be under the ground in order to start growing. Now, has anyone actually ever visited a place where they have very, very hard dirt? So hard that it looks cracked when you're walking on it? What do you do with really hard, cracked dirt?
You get an extra sharp blade to plow it.
You have to have a blade to plow it. Otherwise, do you think people could go there with some piece of wood or some simple tool? They'd be working so hard just to get one little tiny patch of ground. They actually have to use animals to make the tools. Now, whenever we talk about a malacha, there's two important things we have to know. There's one set of rules that comes from the actual Torah. That's called Isser D'Oraisa. Do you see where it says that? Issurei D'Oraisa. Issurei D'Oraisa mean they come straight from the Torah. The Torah says don't do it. But we also have Issurei D'Rabbanan, ones that the rabbis told us we can't do. Why would the rabbis tell us something we can't do on top of what's already in the Torah? Why couldn't we just keep what it says in the Torah? Why do we have to have the rabbis telling us extra things we shouldn't do on Shabbos? Anybody besides? Dina? So in other words, so that we're extra specially careful not to even go near something that might actually make us do something that's from the Torah, we create a fence. So the rabbis tell us something in addition, besides what it just says in the Torah. Let's do some examples that have to do with Choraish, and I bet all of you will recognize these things because you do them all the time. The first thing that could be an Isser from the Raisa, from the Torah, is, for example, digging a hole. You can't go outside on Shabbos and start digging a hole, if with a shovel or with your hand or anything like that, because why do people need to make a hole? To do what?
To plant seeds.
To plant seeds. Exactly, that's exactly what they did. And what do they need to plant seeds for the Mishkan?
To make for the korban.
This is a really tricky one. It's for actually making the dyes that they needed to dye the curtains. The dyes were made from a plant, and the plants came from the ground. Right. So 1 second. So digging a hole is D'Oraisa. Can you dig a hole? No. What about this? Let's say you have a big pile of dirt like this, and you want it to look nice and pretty and smooth. So you come by and you go like this. Make it nice and smooth. Can you level the dirt on Shabbos? No, that's also an Isser D'Oraisa. Can you put that one for me, Shira? What about this one?
Can I put it here?
Yep, right underneath. What about removing weeds? No. Let's say you have a weed. Let's say this flower is a weed. This is too beautiful to be a weed, but let's pretend it was a weed. And let's say I saw that on Shabbos and I said, ew, a weed in my yard.
What about that?
What would happen if I pulled it out? What would be left?
The seed.
What would be there instead of where the plant used to be?
A
hole. Didn't we already say digging a hole is an Isser D'Oraisa? Okay, so we cannot remove a weed. What about...
Wait, this is a D'Oraisa?
Yep. What about taking away a stone?
No.
When I take away a stone, what's left?
A hole.
Can we have a hole?
No.
It's an Isser D'Oraisa. What about turning over the soil? That means I go through here and I just go like this. Turn over the soil. Can I turn over the soil?
Plowing.
Oh, it's definitely plowing. It if a plow actually went through the ground. So can we turn over the soil?
No.
No.
Can I start stacking them?
What about if we, does anybody know where my water bottle, can I have my water bottle? What if we just decided we were going to fertilize? Let's say I'm walking around out inside my yard and I say, you know what? My yard is looking really, really hungry. It looks like it needs some vitamins. I think I'll just sprinkle some fertilizer everywhere on it.
Where is
Should I put some fertilizer?
No.
Why?
Because the water never goes.
Oh, the fertilizers themselves will make
Is
holes.
that the water bottle?
So, can we fertilize?
No.
Would you put that under Derisa?
What's okay?
Last one is,
Wait, can I start with?
And you most certainly can't aerate your ground.
what if I decided I wanted to pour some water in the ground? What happens when my water all starts to go away?
It makes an indentation.
It's making a hole, it's softening up the ground, and it would be like plowing, right? So I can't water it either.
Guys, stop.
Now we're down to the last four, and these are all not Derisa. These are Derabanan. You guess why the rabbi said we shouldn't do this. Why do you think we shouldn't take a broom and go outside and start sweeping the ground?
Wait, because it might cause us to be like turning over the soil.
So if I was sweeping the ground, it would actually look like I was doing what?
Turn it over.
So sweeping is Derabanan. It looks just like plowing. What about playing marbles on the ground?
Because you're making a track in the soil.
That's right. Can you hand me a marble? Let's see if this is really right.
Like
A big one. Just borrow someone's and I'll give it.
Use mine.
Thank you, Sharon.
turn it how many big beads.
Just grab me a big bead.
I can't.
Poppy, can I borrow a big bead?
Okay, you can borrow mine.
Thank you. If we were playing marbles and I put the marble on the ground and I flicked it, what would start happening?
It would be like big tram.
That's right. It's like I'm plowing a little path everywhere my marble goes.
Put your heads
So-
back so I can.
So is marble, does that make sense that the rabbis would think that playing marbles wasn't a good idea? Okay. What about washing your floors outside? Let's say you have a patio that has little cracks in it or something.
That
You
would
decide
be
you
like
wanna wash your
water.
floors. Oh, it would be very similar to watering the ground. And here's the last one. Let's say you have a chair. Watering the ground. Like washing the floor, sorry.
Say you have like
Let's have a chair. Let's pretend the bell's a chair. Okay, I used to have a chair that I did this with. Okay, here's a chair,
Stop.
and here's a sukkah. We're all sitting in the sukkah, and now it's time to get up and wash our hands for challah. So I push out my chair, and I get up to go wash, and what's left in the ground?
Oh.
So you mean dragging a chair across the ground could also be an issur d'Rabbanan?
Yeah.
It sure is, and so is playing in the sandbox. How many people actually like to go and play in the sandbox on Shabbos?
8 times.
So, playing in the sandbox, if we're not careful, what can we end up doing in the sand?
Making. Well, that's really easy to make.
So that's why some people have an extra special custom on sukkahs to put a floor on the bottom of their sukkah if they're not on a patio.
we have a patio.
Because that way the legs of the chairs don't scrape back and forth.
Our rabbi said to us that we should have a floor because we were having sukkah hopping and they noticed that we had.
Yes, for years
We
people
have
used to come to our sukkah and say to us, "You don't have a floor, we can't sit in your chairs." And then last year we decided to make a patio so that we didn't have to.
We have a patio. We always do it on a patio. Never on the rest.
Okay.
What's this
So-
for? We always use it on my back
Yes,
porch.
have a question?
Wait, dig a hole so that I can.
Let's say if it's one of those little kids' plastic chairs, the little tiny ones, that I don't think that's considered a heavy object. But let's say a bench, a big metal bench or something like that, if you drag it, you'll 100% know that it's going to make a hole in the ground, right? So in doing so, you're doing something knowing that it probably will cause you to
I mean,
make a
because a
hole in
little
the ground.
kitty chair you could just pick up.
Okay? So, every malacha, yes, Stephen.
So let's say like it's raining outside or something, whatever, and then you walk outside with your shoes, and then it also makes like a hole in the ground. Or if you have boots, and the ground is wet,
I
then
think
it
the
also
main thing
makes.
is you're not doing it with intention. You see what I'm saying? Like,
So maybe when I drag
let's
a
say, for
chair, I
example,
don't do
here's
it.
another example. We know that there are bugs that crawl around in the grass. And we walk in the grass on Shabbos. We probably kill bugs when we walk on the ground on Shabbos.
That's not.
Right? They're little tiny, like, you know, little tiny.
So when I put
things
back
in
my chair, I don't know what's gonna make a hole.
You do.
So I know when I
with
walk
100% certainty, if you have a heavy chair in dirt and you drag it, it will make a hole in the ground. There's like no question
Well,
about
if
it.
I have like shoes and like whatever, and I walk on the floor, like if it's flat, like it's for sure also getting cold.
But I think it's the kind of hole also. For example, the hole of a heavy object dragging is very much like a plow. However, stomping your foot like this is not really the same way. You see what I'm saying? It's not like in the fashion people
Like
that would
this?
prepare people to put seeds in the ground, right?
And
No,
people do holes.
but it would.
With what?
Like, cause, like once I was playing outside, it wasn't Shabbos, whatever, we were playing in the backyard, and like we were sitting whatever, and I was talking to people, whatever, and I was like digging
Wait, can you please
digging
move out of
my
my
finger,
spot?
is that called? But I'm not gonna make a hole with my finger when I'm
Wait.
But you're really not supposed to take your finger and put a hole in the ground. You're not supposed to touch the ground in that way with your hand because you actually could put a hole in
Wait,
the
but
ground.
more if you go and take your foot and you're walking and it goes like this.
That's what she was talking
Then
about.
it's turning over the soil.
Yeah, but it's not doing it in the same fashion. You see, when you're plowing, what are you really doing? You're breaking up the dirt in order to make an avenue to put seeds inside, right? Whereas if you're stomping like this, you're actually patting the dirt
How do
down.
you know these things?
I'm not gonna touch that.
But you're also you can be turning over the soil.
But not in a fashion where you're actually making the soil open up so that you can put seeds in there. See? One is more like patting it. Well, if you're dragging your toes, especially if you're doing it with purpose, you know how some people like to do that so they can make trails in the dirt? They probably shouldn't do that, right?
So you can't go like this?
Right.
I'm on
Because
the
you make
last
a hole
page
there.
of my map.
Okay, so those of you who want to participate in the Malachos fairs, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our mamas and tatis come and actually make holes and plow and do all those things with command cards when they come to our fair.
Can I do dying?
We are all going to die. That's going to be very fun.
How?
You're gonna die?